have you here. This is Anastasia Economou from Educational Institute of Cyprus. Anastasia, the screen is yours actually rather than the floor. So if you're ready, let's start. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation, first of all. I think it's a good opportunity for us to present our project. As you see, the project is called EU Classroom e-Portfolios. It's, let me see why this is not, okay. As you can see, the project started in May 2013. It's going to end in April 2015. It's a European funded project under Action Key 3, Erasmus+, which aims to policy recommendations. In this project, we're 14 partners from 7 different European countries. You can see here the partners. And actually, the whole project was based on a need that we realized among our countries, where, as we know, in most curriculums, along with basic knowledge, with a core body of knowledge, we include 21st century skills for the students. So the need here is to support teachers and, of course, learners to develop these transversal or 21st century skills, and also how to assess these skills. So we decided along our discussions to use different strategies and approaches for learning, and also use assessment as a tool for both for learning and, of course, of learning at the same time. Our goals of the project, of course, was first of all to design our e-portfolio model that we hope is quite innovative. Pilot these models. We say models because by the time we end up to our own EU-folio model, we went through different discussions and with the teachers as well. And so we tried to pilot these e-portfolio models through case studies in our schools, in our countries. And through these pilot implementations to select evidence about our e-portfolio model and its impact into teaching and learning. Of course, as I said, this funding is under a special call from the European Commission, which aims to policy recommendations. So we aim at, by the end of the project, to be able to promote strategies and also give recommendations towards these strategies for effective practice and upscaling of our model. Starting this project, we had to face some challenges. So as partners, we needed to share a common understanding of what e-portfolio is. From literature review that we've done, most of the cases were referring to higher education, and for us it was very important to have an angle of e-portfolio through the curriculums of the different countries. Another challenge we had was to prepare the teachers to use e-portfolio in their teaching practice. As I said, we wanted to do some pilot implementations. So in order for the teachers to understand our model, they needed to go through a transformation and not only add this as an extra thing in their teaching. Another challenge was, of course, to find the technology that will be there to support our pedagogical model. And we had to go through technologies and see the affordances of the technology that would support our e-portfolio approach. Finally, we had to adapt our evaluation strategy for the implementation. And as in any pilot implementation, we always want to look at the more qualitative data as well, not only the quantitative data, because we want to see the impact of what is happening in learning through our ePortfolio model. Finally, as I said, it's a challenge to communicate these results in order to have policy decisions, and we're still struggling to find a way to communicate this to policymakers, so as to have a systemic approach of our model. For our project, the main tasks were in actually 4 levels, we can say. One level, in the designing level, we had to describe, as I said, from literature review, different portfolio models, develop resources for our teachers, and of course to design and define the technology that would support our model. In the second level, the second phase, if you want, we needed to design a training approach, a training model, and we decided to do a trainer's training first. So for each country, we had a number of trainers that were trained centrally from the Cyprus Pedagogical Institute, and these trainers then they went back to their countries and they were doing the national trainings in their country. The third phase is the school implementation. Most of the countries were doing 2 phases, 2 pilot implementations, and through these implementations we wanted to see, as I said before, the impact of our model through observations and evaluations of these pilots. And finally, to give our suggestions through this policy handbook. So basically, the content of our framework focused in assessment strategies and basically and mostly in using assessment for learning, so as to have formative assessment and not only summative assessment, which of course it was also included in the assessment strategies. The second area of content was 21st century skills, to find a framework that would satisfy all the countries through their curriculums. And the third content area was a learning design process, how to help teachers to design their e-portfolio approach in their classroom through a methodology that would help them to align not only the content knowledge of the curriculum, but also the learning outcomes, but also the 21st century skills and develop through activities using a tool that will support these activities, and of course the assessment that will give evidence of the learning that took place during the whole learning process. And the learning approach would be part of the e-portfolio model that we developed. We ended up in a framework to use with our teachers based on the Assessment and Teaching for 21st Century Skills framework that you can see here on the screen, where we saw skills in 4 areas, in 4 groups: ways of thinking, ways of working, tools for working, and living in the world. And all these skills were discussed and elaborated more with the teachers in the trainings. From also the literature review, we ended up with, of course, these 6 assessment, let's say, approaches were discussed with the teachers, and that's where we ended up with them. And all these 6 areas were incorporated in the e-portfolio approach. And I will explain in a while how we saw e-portfolio. E-portfolio for us was also a process, and we based our e-portfolio approach to the work of Ambrami and Barrett, where we have three levels of portfolio, the storage level, the workspace, and the showcase. And to explain a bit more about this, in the first level, in the storage level, where students can search and gather material, video, audio, links, and so on, we aim to develop skills like collecting, uploading, downloading, selecting, and so on. So through this first level, it's the content where the students are gathering. I will go to the third level, which is the showcase level, where the students, through their assignments, through the pages that they will create and so on, will present their products, their learning. And during this level, we're aiming at skills like sharing, assessing, reflecting, presenting. So this actually is the showcase portfolio that we made in the different literature and in other implementations. And we wanted to emphasize, though, the workspace level, where the students could have evidence on the process they followed to reach their learning. So through journals, forums, we wanted to develop skills like interacting, collaborating, reflecting, evaluating. So this work was really important for us. And at this point, all through these levels, students had to go through reflections, and we used different approaches like the use of rubrics or self-assessment or peer assessment approaches, so as to, for each student to use this assessment for their own learning. And of course, at the same time, it was a tool for the teachers that they would support their understanding of their students' learning, and so as to help them through the whole e-portfolio process to reach their final level, which would be the showcase. As I said, to be able to implement our model, we wanted firstly to train the trainers, who then will train the teachers in their countries, and of course then in the schools, in the classrooms, to have the work with the students. We finally used as a tool Mahara and Office 365. Office 365 was used for the moment in Ireland, and we're still working in the customization of it. The trainers workshop was a 2 days workshop in an experiential form that took place with all the partners, with their trainers, and that was given by the Cyprus Pedagogical Institute in a meeting in Austria. In this training, as I said, it was very important for us to establish a common understanding of what the portfolio means for this project. And of course, we had the content for the 21st century skills, assessment for learning, e-portfolio, and a learning design process. At the same time, we had to devote some time for the tool, and some time was devoted in workshops for Mahara as a tool for the e-portfolio. At this point, we are on the second phase of our implementation in schools. The countries that are piloting for the project are Cyprus, Slovenia, Ireland, Spain, and Lithuania. And most of us, according to, of course, the size of the country, we try to have a number of schools, and in each school to have teachers with their classes to implement this e-portfolio. Now we are currently running pilots in all the countries in the phase 2, and we don't have yet any data that we can present apart from very introductory data that we gathered from the first phase, and I will show a bit of some of our results in a while. For the observation and evaluation of the implementation, we decided to use an approach that had to do with embedded multiple case studies. That is that for each implementation, for each teacher with his or her class, we would refer to it as a case. So we will see what was really happening in their classroom for that particular phase when they were implementing. Of course, because some classes had more than one teacher, each class was, again, another case for us, another case study. So one student, for example, could have his or her e-portfolio due to the work of 3 or 4 different teachers. Then again, each school had different classes, so school was also a case study, and of course each country was a case study in its own. That's how we are trying to analyze our results. In order to get the data to see what is happening with our implementation, we developed some tools that correspond to teachers, students, school unit, and of course the researchers as observations. And that was done through some questionnaires, but as well from notes, observations, and finally at the end of the implementation, focus groups, learning designs, so that we will look at the final products of both the teachers and the students to see what was the real learning that was taking place through our model. I need to say here that for the project we don't need to go that deep, but I think it's very interesting to really look at these things. That's why we said, okay, we're going to gather the data and see for each country how in how much depth they want to proceed to analyze their results. I will show a little bit with some skepticism our first results that are from the case of Cyprus, and that only from the first phase. But I think it's interesting at this point to share some of these results. One of our questions was the impact of using ePortfolio. And we saw that there was impact through for the teachers' design process. So the teachers, they did have a transformation in how to design their lessons, and that was in terms mostly in modifications of how to use technology, not as another tool, but as a part of the whole learning. And that was very obvious in how they used Mahara, not only in the classroom, but also at different time and different, let's say, spaces. We saw also some impact on the methodology of the teaching of the teachers. But I think something that was very obvious from this, what I'm presenting now is mostly from the focus group discussions that we had with the teachers in Cyprus. And it was very obvious how all believed that students were really engaged and motivated into such kind of learning. It seems that the goals of the learning designs that the teachers did, they were achieved through this model. And something they were very happy about was that the teachers had evidence on students' learning. That was very important for them for the assessment that they had to do as a summative assessment. But at the same time, it was very important to have evidence for feedback and reflection for formative assessment. We also try to see how the employment of your portfolio could facilitate learning. And three comments we had from a number of teachers was the evidence for students' assessment, the evidence of learning, so to be used as a summative assessment, but also the communication, the interaction, the collaboration that was taking place during the whole implementation. The other thing they believe that there was a facilitation for learning was in direct access and sustainability of the learning. That is, that because we had the online tool, Mahara, there was direct access for both teachers and students for the learning area, and also it was there. They could see the whole process and comment on it at any time. Of course, there were barriers, and quite a few, as you can see. We had barriers on external issues like infrastructure, institutional support issues, access issues at home, so these were there. Of course, there were some barriers in resistance to change and established practice that the teachers were following. And also, still, how to use ICT in the learning process. It was difficult, but I think that we succeeded on that. You will see here some other issues that were discussed, but I think I'm running out of time anyway. So I will just need to say that, as I said, it's a very initial stages. We are finishing the pilot implementation at the end of this fall 2014, and we are going to work on the analysis, data collection analysis, in January, February, and hopefully April we will be able to share our results and conclusions with the community, the learning community. Finishing, I would like to say that we are planning our ePortfolio final conference for the project. That will be the 27th of April. Hopefully we will see you there and discuss more. Thank you. Oops.
Thank you, Anastasia, very much. I hope that you hear the applause of the audience. Perhaps there are some questions about this implementation that you may like to address our panelists. Any doubts, any questions? This is quite a great challenge to implement this method in such a great number of schools, so we keep the fingers crossed for you.
Yes, it's a challenge to support all these schools, but I think it's very interesting for us. So.
Okay, thank you very much. There are no more questions. I'm sure that if you have any, you can email Anastasia, or you can meet her online on our portal, Europortfolio portal. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the workshop. Bye.